Get ready. It's time. Christina, Catherine, Lisa, Amy, and Lauren. Welcome to the Cimorelli podcast.
Hey, I'm Christina.
I'm Catherine.
Oh, I'm Amy.
I'm Lauren.
And we're Cimorelli.
Welcome back to
The
Cimorelli Podcast.
This episode is sponsored by Green Chef. Green Chef can help you feel your best for the summer season with balanced, crave-worthy meals that support your healthy lifestyle and taste great too. Get 60% off plus free shipping with code Cimorelli60, Cimorelli60 at greenchef.com/Cimorelli60.
This is episode 166, where we will be talking all about the pressure of the summer body that is thrust upon all of us from basically birth. And we're just going to get into it today and just, share our povs, our opinions, and maybe a little pep talk. Who knows? Probably will. But yeah, so that's what we're chatting about today, guys.
Of course we will. We can't control ourselves.
We cannot
I
get through
can't
a
control
podcast
myself.
without some sort of pep talk speech.
So yeah, that's what we're doing. We start with our highs and lows before we get into that main topic. So we're going to tell you guys the highs and the lows of our week.
Love that.
I can go. All right. My high was that I went to the beach with my family, and it was really fun. It's definitely, I would say the low was that the car rides, while my sons did really well, they were very long, treacherous. And at one point, they just got so annoyed being in the car, they would just go, no. They didn't really know what was going on, but they're just like, why am I still in this car? So that was definitely the low. But the high was that they saw the ocean for the first time, and just really good family memories. I just was standing on the beach, and I was like, I need to soak in every moment. I really was just, I was trying to be really present. It was really fun.
Kat, that's so
Happy
cute.
thoughts with Kath.
Yeah, it
I
was
love
true though.
it.
That's what I did.
Soak in every
I
moment.
love that.
Okay, my high is that I dyed my hair blue.
Your wedding's in a week.
Yeah, I'm getting married in a week and my hair is blue. But my low was also that because it really was stressing me out. I had to bleach it twice. And then I was just woke up in the middle of the night after I bleached it where I was going to do it blue the next day. And I was like, what if this is horrible? What if it looks bad? What if I look like a loser? What if it's horrible? And it was really stressing me out. I thought it was going to turn out bad.
No, it looks so
But
good.
it didn't.
It literally looks so good. And the more you've washed it, the even better it looks.
Thank you.
Shocking.
Okay, let's see. My... really can't think of what it is. Okay, my low was my hormones.
Not the hormones.
Hate those.
These postpartum hormones will get you.
How long do you postpartum hormone for?
I mean, when you're breastfeeding, it's
yeah.
it's a whole thing. But yeah,
I
just
didn't know that.
just lots of hormone, whatever the heck. Boring. I won't get into it. So yeah, that's my low. It's just it's like the TikTok. Barrett wanted me to repeat this 100 times last night, where she goes, "What do you do for work? What do you do for work? Do you like it? Do you like it?" That one. So he kept making me do that. Do you like it? Do you like it? So it's a really good one.
It's wild that he's sophisticated enough at almost
He's
3
"Do it
to
again."
get the humor in that. That's wild.
It's so funny.
He is wild.
And then the high was just summer life. Ooh, we're doing a summer episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because I keep going out. It's so fun. I'm like, Barrett's like, I want ice cream. And I'm like, oh, we should get ice cream that's from an ice cream truck. So then, not literally though, because there was an ice cream
I was
truck.
going to say, how do you find one?
Also, I'm scared of ice cream trucks.
Well, I pulled up a picture of ice cream truck ice cream. I'm like, which one looks good? And then he pointed to the strawberry one. That was
yeah. I love
it's
those.
the strawberry with the little
yes.
white and pink. I never had that before. So
I love
I
those.
found those at the grocery store. So I ordered those that day with my grocery order. And then I was like, Barrett, I got us a surprise.
Oh,
So it's
that's
all
so
these
cute. At home ice cream truck.
fun things I wouldn't normally do. Or maybe I would, but not quite the same, It's doing that, and then I'm out in the backyard. When did I go in my backyard before having children? Never.
I feel like the last 2 summers you've been really cooped up because
Yeah.
you've been pregnant or 3 summers.
3 summers in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Last 3 summers, last 3 winters, trash. That's 4 winters, actually. Trash. 4.
Yikes.
Anyway, so yeah, all the summer fun stuff, all the walks we've been going to the park. When's the last time I went to the park and played?
Yeah.
When would I do that? Well, with Barrett. I mean, before that, right? When would I do that? Never. So yeah, anyway, fun stuff like that. Oh yeah, and then my friend and I were hanging out and we took Barrett to ice cream and he was like, we're getting ice cream. All my stories revolve around ice cream, but that's Barrett's favorite thing. And my favorite
what flavor
thing.
does he
Yeah,
like?
and yours.
He likes vanilla.
Oh.
Just vanilla.
Wait, remember that thing
Feel
that was
like-
like men that like vanilla ice cream are more likely to be risk takers or something?
Well, you want to know about Barrett as a risk taker? He's literally me. It's so funny. We went to the park and he's like, Mom, I'm scared. Before we do every single thing. But he's so much like me. He goes, Mom, I'm scared. And I'm like, it's okay, Barrett. You can do whatever. Say, I can do this. I'm brave. So he goes like, I can do this. I'm brave. So then he does it. And then the next time he's like, Mom, I'm scared. And then he does it. And then the third time he's like, doesn't need more. And then he like goes really as much as he can, like dangerous, whatever, which is literally what I do. I'm like scared of this thing, calculated. I have to like take like a calculator with like gymnastic stuff. And you're like doing the flip off the swing. I wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to try to flip off the swing. I had to make it like really like safe first and then work my way up. Barrett is the same. And with Nick, I was like, Nick, were you like this as a child? And he's like, no, not at all. Not even close. So I'm like, yeah, Barrett is so similar to me. It's so
I
weird.
love that.
But yeah, risk taker. I don't know about that. Every single thing he was scared, but only scared like the first 2 times.
Honestly, that might serve you well later in life with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially as like a teenager if he stays that way.
Yeah. If he's like me with that, that'll be good. As a
yeah.
teen. All right, spit it out. Lauren.
My low is that anything that is in my pocket ends up on the floor.
Yeah, what?
Somehow.
Wait,
Who
shouldn't this
could
be
know?
Amy's current crisis?
I don't know.
Because you have that today.
Do I? I forgot. Okay, I'll tell it later.
Wait, because
then.
you have a lot of stories of that.
I'll tell it later because I have so many. Anyway, no, I'm not gonna start over. I'll just choose a new low, but y'all, I'll just do that later.
Save that and tell us all that
Yeah,
later.
I just showbiz the whole segment, but it's okay, guys.
What's your low?
My low is
You had a panic attack the other day,
yeah, Chris. Okay,
and then you called everyone for their opinion.
not everyone, like for everyone, and that's a low number for me.
Yeah, that is.
It is?
Yeah.
She calls like 10 people.
Yeah. And
I
then
would've
I
guessed,
called
like,
more
5.
people after the fact, but not when I had a crisis, just to tell them about everything that had happened.
Okay.
I've
okay.
assembled a council of sorts.
Yeah.
And then
Your
what
high
was my-
was a good time you had?
Yes, my high was a good
See,
time.
there's
I
been a
had.
few times this week that were a good time. What? I feel like I know Amy's life somewhat well enough to say it. I'm serious. She probably had. I
Yes.
know she had.
I went to the pool like 7
at
million
least
times.
one good time this week.
Yeah, I went to the pool a bunch, watched Aquamarine,
Hung out with
Oh,
people.
fun.
hung out, ran around the town.
Okay, so every high.
Every
Got
high.
it.
Kind of like mine.
Yeah.
Good summer times.
Yes, good summertime.
That's
is
the
my
high.
high.
This episode is sponsored by Earnin. Earnin is an app that gives you access to your pay as you work, up to $100 per day or up to $750 per pay period. You just download the Earnin app and verify your paycheck. Then access up to $100 a day as you work and leave an optional tip. Any money you access plus tips are automatically repaid from your next paycheck. If I were in a spot where I needed an app like this, I would use Earnin based on the research that we did together when we were deciding to take on this partnership. You can make Earnin a part of your financial routine and join Earnin's over 3.5 million customers. There are no mandatory fees and no credit check. You can download Earnin today. It is spelled EARNIN in the Google Play or Apple App Store. When you download the Earnin app, type in Cimorelli under podcast when you sign up. It will really help out our podcast. That's Cimorelli, CIMORELLI under podcast. Subject to your available earnings, daily max, and pay period max, see earnin.com/TOS for details. Earnin is EARNIN. Earnin is a financial technology company, not a bank. Bank products are issued by Evolve Bank and Trust, member FDIC. Once again, go to Earnin, EARNIN, and type in Cimorelli under podcast. All right, let's jump into the main topic, which is the pressure to have the perfect summer body and why it's
Wrong.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Trying to think of a dramatic exclamation. Why it's
False.
Canceled.
Come on, guys, we need some passion. Yeah, why it's canceled.
Canceled.
Why it's wrong. Why it's rude.
Unfair.
It's dangerous.
Why
Dangerous.
it's over.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, I want to get some passion going. Guys.
Lame.
I feel like we all need to be like lightly electrocuted.
No.
Like, woo.
No.
And then we'll all be awake. Okay, I just electrocuted everyone in my mind. Okay, ready? So let's start with what is the summer body, guys? I assume you all know what we're talking about, right? It's the pressure.
It's only been on every magazine cover since I've been on this earth.
You hear it from a young age. Maybe you hear your parents talk about it, or maybe you just hear the media, movies, TV shows, magazines. You see
now
those
it's TikToks.
especially as a kid, you would like see those in the stores. I feel like maybe that's where I first heard of it. I can't even remember when I first heard of it, but I feel like it was those magazines in stores. I want to say because our mom wasn't saying that stuff ever. But it's like the idea that the rest of the year you can hide your treacherous body from the world.
Yeah.
But then in the summer, you can't hide anymore. People are going to see what you really look like.
Yikes.
And how dare you not look like the exact current beauty standards and trends. Therefore, you need to spend the rest of the year doing everything in your power to get yourself to fit into that mold, which changes, by the way. So
True.
one year you got to be really, really thin. The next year you got to get some curves that you didn't have. Then a little bit later, you're going to have to get rid of those because it's not as trendy to be as curvy. So then you got to make sure you work on that. Basically, this could be summed up in the line.
Tone, tan, fit, and ready.
Yes.
That was in the notes for this episode. So yeah, you're expected to be toned, tan, fit, and ready for the summer. Or else you should be deeply ashamed
You
of
should
yourself.
move to a cave in the middle of Antarctica.
So let's talk about this whole thing, right? So let's start with how much this idea of the summer body and how you have to be summer ready is in our faces. Where
Oh
do you
my
see it?
gosh.
How much do you see it? When do you start seeing it?
You
Wait,
literally see it.
I thought you meant literally
everywhere.
in our face, but like you're saying it's like the
Yeah,
message.
you're like, how much of your...
Well, I have kind of a sad thought that I've just been thinking about since we started talking about this episode that sort of leads into this. My sons, who are like 1.5 right now, they're just starting to learn about like their body parts. And we have these books, like one's called 10 Tiny Toes. And it's like mouth, ears, eyes, nose, arms, belly, legs, 10 tiny toes. And it's just like going through and naming the body parts. And they're starting to be like, eyes, and they'll like point to your eye, or like mouth, and they point to their mouth. And it's just really interesting to think like to them, they're literally just, it's just like, oh, it's your eyes, it's your nose, it's your mouth. It just is. And it's like, when does that change into like,
Good or bad?
yeah, when does it become like a judgment of like, oh, good eyes or not good eyes or
good nose,
Yeah.
bad
Not good
nose.
nose.
yeah, it's just like a really sad thing to think about. Like, yeah, anyway, that's kind of what I think about when I think about this topic. It's just like,
For some people, it's younger than others. I think a lot of them, it's their parents first, and then it'll be other kids who have parents who are also talking about those things who will tell them. So like a girl seeing her mom talking about how much she hates whatever body part will think about that, and then she might end up talking to friends about it at school who might have not known that yet. But I think it kind of will most of the time come from the parents because they'll be around them, seeing them talking about dieting or something about their body or whatever the heck it is.
yeah, I saw something recently that said like most girls will start to feel self-conscious like statistically around the age of 6.
Oh, yep, that
which is
tracks. That
really, really
definitely
sad.
tracks.
I remember being that age and being like,
I remember my
Oh, my
first
dress
thought
feels,
of
like,
feeling
tight.
like that. Yeah,
like,
and I was
am I
that
like
young.
chubby? Like I remember feeling like, is there something wrong with me? For like,
Literally, I have that burned into my brain. Like,
Something-
specific memory.
Something I remember that I thought about recently is learning that muscular was good. That's
Oh.
so I remember I was in
Yeah.
gymnastics, so I was very, very
Interesting.
muscular, and people like praising me for that and being like,
Mm.
oh my gosh, you have a 6-pack when I was like 6 probably or 7, this age you're talking about. So I learned, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And being like, whoa, look at your muscles. So I'm like, okay, muscles, good. People praise you for those. You want to be toned. Toned. You want to be toned. I got to be muscular. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be. This is like who I am. And this is good thing that people are praising me for. Whereas before I
Yeah.
wouldn't have known like that's good. But
yeah,
people
it's
told me that was
interesting.
good.
Like I think in the body trends, I think it started out with like they say heroin chic in the 90s. and it was really thin. And then I think people were trying to be positive in like the 2000s by being like, strong is the new, like strong is they're trying to be like, oh, let's have muscle.
Oh yeah, strong is the new skinny.
But then it's like, you're still promoting one body type. Like, I think some people have a more athletic build naturally and they build muscle really easily.
Yeah.
And other people don't. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's really, and I think that also affects men a lot, like feeling like they're not strong enough or they're not like toned enough. Well, I think men and women both, but yeah.
Yes. Well, yeah, because that's what I was thinking. So then I remember as I got older and I wasn't doing sports as much, I was like, I'm not as like muscular, toned, whatever as I was. And then I'm thinking like, is this bad? Because I'm told that's a good thing. So I'm trying to think of when is the youngest age I remember even like the summer idea, because it was definitely late. It must have been swimsuits things.
Yeah.
Or swimsuits. It must have been magazines. It was definitely magazines.
Oh yeah, they always start in like
lose 50 pounds by summer.
Oh yeah.
they start in like February.
And it's like the New Year's stuff. It's like start your goals now for summer.
Yeah.
I think New Year's is a big time you see it. And then the months leading up to summer.
I've been seeing it all over TikTok, like all year long. Everyone's like, if you start now, in 50 days, you'll feel like this. And I'm like, go away. Please.
I think that's one of the biggest marketing ploys for all the weight loss companies is like getting you ready for summer, getting your body ready. Like, oh, you're not ready how you are now.
Yeah,
but
why
you
can't
will
you be
if
ready as you are
change.
now?
Okay, so let's get into that then. So why are you supposed to be, quote, ready? So the thing that they're like selling us basically is that you're not really like allowed. I mean, if you think about it, they're saying you're not allowed to go to the beach, to the pool in a swimsuit if you look a certain way, or you're not allowed to wear shorts. You're not allowed to wear a tank top. You have to have a certain kind of arms, certain kind of stomach, certain kind of legs, whatever it is. You need to make sure that you have like the standards that everyone wants, or else you need to be ashamed of yourself and you need to change.
Yeah.
You have to make them smaller. You're not allowed to put that out there because you need, it's weird. They're like, it's like you should be ashamed of yourself. You cannot, quote, put that on display for people to look at, or even like subject. I saw some comments on a Facebook post recently that's like even like subjecting people to have to look at that. That being basically
Your body.
a body that is not fitting the current standards of beauty and body trends, whatever.
Which is interesting because the vast majority of the population
Doesn't.
is just like normal people. And there's literally nothing wrong with that. But yet you feel ashamed for not being like in this like, I don't even want to say elite, but I don't know, just this small group of people that's, I guess, models, the people that model the clothes that are toned, tan, fit, and ready, whatever. That's what you see as like, oh, this is the way the clothing should look. And then when you get it in the mail and you put it on your body, you're like, oh, it doesn't look like it did on the model, because the model literally represents like a very small percentage of the world. Not that there's anything wrong with the model's body. It's just, it's not that most people are not 6 feet tall and very, very thin and toned. Like that's pretty rare, actually.
That was something that really hit me that didn't hit me until after having a baby. I didn't realize like, wow, that was something that I mean, it sucks. Like online shopping is really difficult if you don't have the same body as the model.
Yeah.
Right? So before, it wasn't that difficult to online shop and get clothes, whatever. But after I had Barrett, I remember ordering things and being like, wait, this does not look at all like it does on her. She doesn't have this postpartum stomach that I have.
Yeah.
And I had never had to deal with that before. I'm like, this is really opened my eyes. Like, so many people deal with this, and this is my first time experiencing with this. And it was just something that I was so blind to that I wasn't able to have like empathy for. It's not like I just didn't even think about it at all. But now I have so much empathy. Like now I really appreciate all the companies that have different sizes of models.
Yes.
When that whole movement started, that was really cool to, which it started so late if you think about history. But
Yeah.
but thank goodness that people really like put that out there and like made their voices loud on this topic, but it's so cool when companies have like the different body types showing the clothes, because you look at something and then you try to wear it and it's like, that is not the same. And Lauren, you talk about trick poses. Lauren has a great thing you guys need. If you haven't thought about this, you need to know this. A lot of models do trick poses, as you say.
Yes,
and it is such a thing.
There's all these trick poses that they'll do with clothing that I know if I see a model doing a trick pose, it doesn't actually look good. Like if they have like their arm like in front of the clothing, like if they're not doing just like a normal pose where you can actually fully see the top, it doesn't look good. It's bad. They're doing a trick pose to trick you.
This is a great like hack. If they're like holding it or like manipulating it in any way, it's normally because it's butt ugly. And they have to make it look good for the picture. So if it's just like hanging on them and you can just fully see it, you're getting a way better idea of what it actually looks like. But that is such a good point to say if you guys didn't know that. Until you pointed that out, I had no idea. Now I see it all the time and I'm like, oh, trick pose. That's gotta be ugly.
Oh, if they're like sitting and they're trying to show like pants or shorts or something, and you're
it's like
you're literally sitting.
It's a trick pose.
I can't see any of this.
Another element besides your body type and everything is skin. I think you brought this up.
I this is something that I've been really self-conscious of my whole life because I have eczema and I have a lot of scarring from like picking at that. So I have just like these little scars on like my arms and legs. And I feel like that's another thing. And I feel like it comes back to really seeing people model clothes. I think you don't realize how, but like I would see girls in like the swimsuit ads and stuff when you're like getting stuff online that their arms and legs, everything's like perfectly smooth and there's no scarring. And I would put it on and I'm like, oh, like I remember many summers like purposely wearing pants because there was one summer, I don't know why I did this. We were outside at a shoot and I got really bad flea bites and I didn't like, I could feel these like bugs, but I was just kind of like, oh, well, it's almost over. Like I'm fine. I was just kind of brushing them off, but I got horrible flea bites and I had an allergic reaction. They were super itchy. And that scarring probably lasted at least a year, if not 2 years. Literally, I remember my dad being like, whoa, what happened to your legs? Like, and it was just so like, to me, it just looked so ugly or so wrong, like to have these scars when you're supposed to have really smooth skin.
Flawless.
Yeah. And I actually have really bad eczema right now my eczema's been pretty good recently, but I got a really bad outbreak the last couple weeks. And it is kind of like, you just wonder, you're like, oh, it's like, which honestly, I feel like people are never thinking about you as much as you think. But it's like, oh, is this person just like, if my arm is out, are they like looking at me being like, ooh, what's on her arm? Or like, why does she have so many scars? Like it makes you feel really self-conscious. And like, I remember so many times being like, I don't want to put a swimsuit on because what if someone's like judging me and thinking like, I don't know, just that you're like, there's something wrong with you for having scarring. I feel like people can have scarring from so many things. Acne, eczema, psoriasis. Stretch marks. Yeah, there's so many things on people's
different skin conditions. Yeah, lots of different conditions.
Like
cellulite, yeah.
That's another good point is that it's another thing you're not allowed to have.
Yeah.
You are, and it's interesting because I thought about this the other week. I just saw this ad. I don't even know what the ad was for. I just remember the model's leg. She had a bunch of stretch marks on the side. And I was like, noticed it. And I was like, you never see that in ads. Oh, man, and I was thinking, all you see is flawless, a lot of times edited. Sometimes I'm sure it's probably not edited, but a lot of times I think it's probably edited. I was thinking about how you only ever see that growing up and how odd that is. That everything as a kid, every image you see basically is like fake. Every image you see, it's like perfect skin on their face, perfect skin, quote, quote, flawless. I should say flawless skin on their stomach, their legs, whatever. You don't see stretch marks or scars very much or scarring or different skin conditions or anything like that. You don't see any of that as a kid. It feels
really abnormal.
A lot of times you don't see different like skin tones either.
Yeah.
Like it's all one kind of person.
Oh, yeah.
And they all kind of look the same.
Yeah, that's another thing that I was thinking about is like a lot of people feel really self-conscious about being fair, like having really fair skin, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so pale, I'm like blinding people," and
I'm definitely blinding people out here.
I remember where I like read this, but it was some guy saying like he hated taking his shirt off at the beach because he was like so pale, or like their chest hair or something. I feel like there's a lot of different things that people can be like. there's just a standard. And
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like
hair. That's another thing.
yeah, body hair, pale. Like, why does it matter?
Oh yeah, you're supposed to be as a woman in the summer, you're supposed to be perfectly hairless, perfect flawless skin, perfect body that fits whatever the current trends
Also
are.
perfectly dark tan.
And then you got to have your tan. You can't be too dark. You can't be too light. You got to be the perfect skin tone. Then you have to, we can go into even other, it's not summer stuff, but yeah, it's like, oh, does your nose look like this? Do your lips look like this? Or do your ears stick out
your
too much?
eyes, do you need to,
Oh
well,
my
and
gosh,
too,
it's just
some
ridiculous.
people, it's like getting wet, like your makeup would run off, your hair would go maybe frizzier back to its natural state. And it's like some people feel really self-conscious about that too. Like the idea of water, they're like, well, I don't want to like show
who I am.
Yeah.
I don't want people to see me because
I remember
I'm not acceptable.
As a teenager wearing mascara to swim practice. What the heck? Like, why did I do
Not
that?
the waterproof.
It literally would run off right when
I was such a rat because every time I saw him, I'm like, that girl's wearing mascara to swim
Oh
practice.
my gosh, why? So dumb.
get
Because your crush is there.
waterproof.
You gotta
Did
invest
you
your
not
crush.
have waterproof?
No, I didn't.
Would waterproof even work
Waterproof's
in
too
that
hard to get off,
scenario?
honestly.
Yeah, it would work. But you'd have little crusties of black.
It's interesting too, something about the skin thing that I noticed, and this is because we got Photoshop a long time ago when we were like 12. How old were we when we got Photoshop on our computer? Like I don't know why.
Like the program.
I don't remember why we even got
I think my mom got it. She's like, hey, do you want to learn like photo editing?
Yeah, and honestly,
I was like, oh, cool.
And I remember we did it. I think I was like 12 or 13.
Oh, because I was just into digital photography as like an 11-year-old, and she's like, you can learn how to edit those photos. I got you Photoshop.
Yeah, that was very eye-opening, and I'm very glad that I had the experience of like using Photoshop as a child, even though it's really sad. But like, I remember I would take pictures of my friends. We were all obsessed with our digital cameras, and I would like be like, oh, I could like whiten their teeth, or like, if they have acne, I can like edit it out for them because like I wanted them to look better. I hate that though, because it's like, why does it matter? But when you're a teenager, you're so insecure about those things.
Yeah.
But it really opened my eyes to like, I feel like it's such a cliche thing for people to be like, oh, retouching. But it's true. Like, I notice that all the time in influencers' photos, how blurred their skin looks in a lot of photos. I think a lot of influencers, you don't even notice it because it's very subtle unless you zoom in and you're someone who used Photoshop before. But people blur their skin a lot, so it looks very smooth, and they're probably covering up a scar or cellulite or discoloration or something. But it's like, because you see that image, you think, oh, she's wearing a swimsuit and she looks perfectly smooth. Like, why don't I? But that might not even be what people look like. That's another thing I think is good to know.
The kind of a flip side of that is that then people will do those videos where they do them with influencers now. And there are also like articles about celebrities, same thing, where they're like, here's what they look like in real life. So they'll get a picture of them from the beach that like someone else took. Then they get the picture of them that was like the edited photo. And they're like, look how bad, quote, quote, they actually look. And then people ridicule them for how they actually look, as if that's, once again, it's like unacceptable. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to live like that and not be ashamed of yourself. Like the audacity of a person to look like a normal human being and not be ashamed and not be like actively working on fixing, quote, quote, your appearance to look perfect and fit all these ridiculous standards. That's another thing. It's like when you see that as a person watching that and you see like, oh, that's how they really look. And everyone's saying, look how bad how they really look is. And that's like how I look. So I guess how I look is really bad.
Yeah. And I also really think that a lot of the beauty standards, it's such a privileged thing because like a lot of people have jobs or they have, I'm serious. Like people have jobs and a lot of times they're full-time jobs and it's exhausting.
They have to work.
Or they have children they're raising or like responsibilities that they're taking care of. Most people do not have the time to work out for hours a day, plan this very strict meal plan and afford very expensive groceries and also all these skin treatments and like different products. Like that's a lot of time and money that most people don't have.
Cosmetic procedures, personal trainers, makeup artists.
Most people can't
stylists.
afford the time or the hundreds, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars to look like people on that are known or whatever, like famous or whatever, look. Like,
it's really messed up.
You can't afford that.
When you think about this, it's so messed up that there's these people out there. It's like influencers, celebrities, whatever. And it's like, for them, it like is their job, which is kind of ridiculous. Their job is looking, quote, perfect. So they're spending that time of their career and their money on looking perfect, quote, quote, flawless. And they're spending thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, so many hours, so much time, so much money on this. And they achieve this like they create like the current beauty standard, or they like achieve whatever the look is. Then they go out there, they put that content out there, and then people living their life, raising their children or working their jobs, whatever they're doing, spending your time on things other than all the millions of things we just mentioned. You look at that and you're like, okay, so now I'm supposed to look like that.
Yeah, you're comparing yourself to someone who it's literally their job to look. It's a full-time job for them to look like that, which is a lot of pressure. And I don't think that's healthy.
Yeah.
And then you grow up as a kid and you watch that and you're like, that's what I'm supposed to be.
Well, yeah, even in like actresses and movies, like I feel like I've seen so many of their like eating routines or fitness routines, and it's pretty like rigorous. And that's what people are seeing, even not even influencers, but just like in movies and stuff, you're seeing women that are so like sculpted and thin and all this stuff. And it's like, it's just a standard that's put forth. That's like what the standard is.
And I think it's super interesting because this is kind of like the summer body or whatever for men. I keep seeing like actors that are like really ripped being like, this is so depressing. I'm never doing this again for a role.
Yeah.
Talking about all the like wild lengths they have to go to look like they look. And you wouldn't think that because normally like men's like pressure and struggles with those things, like they're not ever spotlighted. And,
yeah,
like,
they don't really voice those things.
Yeah.
I think this is a new thing. I don't think men
I've
used
never
to say
seen it
that.
before, but it's like, oh my gosh, they have to go through so much to like look this way that is like perfect just as much as like women do. But I didn't know that until I saw that. And I was like, okay, so yeah, no one is going to look like these people look who is not putting in hours a day at the gym and eating like plain chicken and vegetables only.
Yeah.
So a big problem with this, besides the pressure, besides the incredible amounts of like pressure, stress, and like toll on your mental health, another thing is that you often end up missing out on so much of your life.
Yeah.
So examples, can you think of examples of things that you've missed out on or you heard people talk about missing out on or someone would miss out on? A big one I can think of is motherhood. People post about this all the time. It's like you don't want to go to the pool and take your kids because you're scared, or you go to the pool but you never get in your swimsuit. You never go take your kids swimming or anything. You don't get in with them. You sit on the sidelines all the time in the summer because you don't want the chance that anyone could look at your body and you would have to feel that shame that you're not measuring up to the current standards. So that's a big one moms talk about a lot. It's just missing out on playing with their kids.
That's so sad.
Just simply because they're ashamed of their body.
You should
for
never
existing.
miss out on your children's lives because you're ashamed of your body. That is so horrible that's the like pressure that they have on top of doing a way more than full-time job of raising your children. You have to do another full-time job of looking perfect, which you obviously can't have two full-time jobs at one time.
It's crazy.
And your children are more important.
Yeah, it's interesting too, thinking about like this whole summer body thing really revolves around water because it's about going to the pool. It's about going to the ocean, going to the lake.
Beach.
And most of the time it's hot out. So
Get in
you
your
want to be
beach
wearing,
body.
lighter clothing, which is usually more, skin to shown if you're wearing a swimsuit or shorts. So it's like, it's interesting to come back to it. Like the reason that you would be showing more of your skin would be so that you could go and enjoy this really wonderful part of life, which is water. It feels really good to go in the pool,
Yeah, it
to go to the lake, to go to the ocean. I don't know. I feel like it's therapeutic, honestly.
It is.
And it just feels like to be
Yeah.
floating, like it feels so good. And like you deserve to enjoy life and you deserve to have great experiences no matter what your body looks like. And life is really tough and your body's going to get banged up. Like you might be really stressed and maybe you don't get as much sleep and then you have bags under your eyes, or you might have eczema from stress and then you have a rash on your skin, or you might get acne and like, or I don't know, there's just so many different things that can happen to your body that it's just life is hard and you deserve to enjoy it. And like the imperfections that I don't even think are imperfections, they're just part of your body. Like every single person has them. Everyone, even the person that you think looks so perfect, they have things that they're worried about too. And I don't know, when I was at the beach last week, just like seeing everyone out with their swimsuits and stuff, it was just like, everyone's just there to enjoy the therapeutic benefits of the ocean. And like, it's not about this contest of who's the tannest and who's the fittest. And I think we feel that way because we want to feel like we can earn people's love, but you can never earn anyone's love with your body looking a certain way.
Yeah.
And I think admiration. I was thinking about that too. It was
admiration.
Like respect. And I think people think they can earn more than love sometimes. I think it's like admiration, respect, power.
Yeah, power.
Yeah, like this will make me feel powerful.
Yeah, and
I think it's a big thing.
I do think there is like a pure part of us that just wants to feel good in our bodies and feel good in our skin, and that's a good thing.
You want to feel accepted.
But you have to ask yourself, are your standards like literally impossible? Because you're never going to be happy with yourself if they are. You should give yourself standards of a person that is experiencing life. And life, again, is hard and it's going to throw things at you that are going to make your body imperfect. Having a baby, your body's not going to look the same. I love the influencer, The Bird's Papaya, and she has these posts where she'll show her stomach with like, you know, loose extra skin or whatever. And then she shows a picture of it pregnant with the baby. And then afterwards, and it's loose and she says, makes sense. And I think you can apply that to so many things with your body.
Yeah.
Life is hard. Your body is going to be a little banged up. It makes sense. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not an imperfection. It's just life.
Yeah, and I think it's really unfortunate that somehow it's all been twisted into this weird, like, moral thing of, like, you have, like, this moral and societal obligation to look a certain way. Like, you signed some sort of weirdo contract when you popped out of the womb, but you didn't sign any weirdo contracts with society. Like, there's so many dumb, arbitrary rules that are just floating around in the ether, like annoying us all day, but they're not real. They're literally not real. You're under no moral or societal obligation or contractual obligation, not that, to follow them. You can just follow your own standards and treat your own body as you want to treat your own body. There's no thing you have or don't need to do. I don't know.
Also, going back to you saying like missing out on things because you're like, oh, I don't want people to see me. I definitely have felt this way, like with my acne before, where if my skin was like really bad, I was just like, I don't want to like see anyone. Like, I don't want to go out. Like, and it's not like that big of a deal, but it's just like that feeling of like, oh, people are going to look at me, especially like it's my face. Like that's where people look when they talk to you. And like, that's all they're going to see. And that's like been really hard for me at different times in my life. And I think it's like, you know, you do need to like empower yourself and like everything that everyone's saying, like, why do we have these rules? Like, you know, get in the right mindset. But I do think there is like the way that I've kind of gotten through that is kind of realizing like, okay, if my skin's looking really whack, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have that like initial, like, I don't know, I guess shame. I understand that, like, okay, I'm going to go hang out with people, I'm going to see people, whatever. And I'm going to feel that initial, like, oh, when I first see them or before first seeing them, like, oh, they're going to see my skin. But then I realize, like, okay, but that's just going to be for like 10 seconds, that initial, like, and then I'll get over it. Mm-hmm. And that's something that's really helpful to me that I don't know if other people that's helpful too. And I do that with like social anxiety too, where I know it's like, okay, it's just the initial thing. And then I realize like no one cares. But I know I'm going to have that initial like bad feeling if I'm feeling insecure.
To like brace yourself for it because you're like, I know this is going to come, but I'm going to do it anyway.
But I'll get over it though is the thing. Like it's only like, it's that anticipation of like, oh, the shame. And then I see people and no one's like, get away, troll. And then I'm like, okay, like it's fine. So I don't know. I guess that's just like a tip.
That's a really good point.
That I think about.
Yeah, there is a lot of pressure that's come from the opposite side of the scale to like love literally everything about yourself. Even the things that are like, you're not gonna love. And there's nothing wrong with being like, this thing I don't love right now, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is fine. My skin
Yep.
looks like this. I look like this. Blah, blah, blah. Like, this is just how I look. And everyone else is going to have to deal with it, TBH, because this is the only look I have.
I
So-
learned something really helpful in therapy when it comes to like the standards, which is interesting. So I think a lot of people, I learned this a few years ago. I think a lot of people, they have this crazy standard of what their perfect summer body is in their mind. And they think if I let go of that, that's the only thing that's keeping me striving for it. This is a really weird thing. I think most people live life with this perfect summer body in their mind. And they're like, I can never let go of that, because if I ever let go of that, then I'm accepting that I'm never going to have that. So if I keep holding on to it and torturing myself about it, I will get it eventually. Even if I didn't get it this summer, next summer I'm going to get it. So let me just hold on to that and be committed to that image, because I can't let go of it. No. I don't want to be lazy. I need to be disciplined. Okay. I'll do better on Monday or whatever the heck people do. So my therapist was pointing that out to me, that when it comes to like standards for yourself of like perfection, we were talking more about me like being like, I need to be productive. I need to do this. I need to be perfect at this and perfect excelling at that and that. That you have these standards in your head and you think they're the only thing keeping me doing anything. I think people think if they don't hold on to that crazy standard, they will let themselves go, quote, quote, and go crazy. So they're like, me having the standard is the only thing keeping me in check. So even though it's like last night, like I tried to eat a salad, I tried to eat just one meal and I ate a salad. But then after that night, I ate 12 cookies. I still need to be dedicated to this idea, because maybe if I wasn't obsessed with getting the summer body, I would have eaten 24 cookies. Like, this is the thing keeping me disciplined, quote, quote. I think people think that is what's keeping them disciplined. My therapist explained to me it's actually not true at all. So I had all these crazy high standards for like being productive and stuff. And she was saying like, you think that is the thing that's keeping you motivated and keeping you on top of things. But in reality, we went through examples of things I had really excelled at and done really well at just for joy, just for pure joy or interest. Like reading, learning about psychology, learning piano in the beginning. And I didn't have this crazy standard about like, you need to be the best this, the best that. I didn't have anyone telling me, you better, it's that voice that says, you better practice this for 10 hours. You better run 5 miles.
Yeah.
You better not eat until 11 a.m. and make sure all you eat is a bowl of oatmeal. You better blah, blah, blah. That you better voice, we think that it's the reason for our success. I think everyone really thinks that. It's not the reason for your success. When you think of things in your life that you've done for just pure like interest or passion, you will realize how much farther you've gone with those things and how enjoyable it was to be like, oh, I can't wait to sit down at the piano and practice. And then you sit down and practice for an hour from pure joy, versus a person who's like torturing themselves, like, you need to do this for an hour. And they think about it all the time. It's like stressing you out, dominating your thoughts. That voice telling you about your summer body that you think is keeping you in line is not keeping you in line.
It's keeping
It's
you trapped.
literally just torturing you, and you're not going to let yourself go, whatever the heck that is, if you let go of that voice. That voice, she's explained to me, that voice is not your friend. It's not helping you. It's literally just torturing you.
Well, and think about if that voice was a person and they lived in your house.
I would.
How much would you hate them?
End up dead.
Like, get out of my house, you psycho.
Like,
Like,
people don't want to let go of that
Yeah,
voice. They
no.
cling, and I was clinging to that voice. I'm like, no, I'll be this lazy person who never gets anything done if I let go of that voice.
yeah, I read a book recently that I mentioned in other podcasts called How to Keep House While Drowning that really relates to this. And Casey Davis, she's awesome. And she basically talked about being a bully to yourself versus like motivating yourself in another way. And I feel like you can 100% apply this to your body. It's like she was saying with your home, you can either say like, oh, look at this mess. What kind of a slob lives like this? You need to clean. Like, just basically shaming yourself into cleaning.
That's so sad.
Or, which I feel
That's what I'm saying.
yeah. Or being like, I deserve to have a space that's functional for
Yes.
me. I deserve to like what can I do tonight that would make my morning easier?
Yes.
And think about that person in your house being like, hey, I'd love to help you out. Let's get ready for tomorrow. Maybe if you put the dishes away, you'll have a cup for tomorrow to get your coffee. Like, that to me is so much more motivating. And the same thing with your body. It's like, what makes you feel good
Yeah.
and what being like whipping yourself like a bully to yourself, that's not going to get you anywhere.
Be an encourager to yourself.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
lift yourself
that's
up and encourage
encourager.
yourself.
That's funny because I was literally thinking like a few months ago about like, oh man, I gotta work on my summer body, but not like the normal summer body, like what you're saying, where I was like, man, I'm always so like tired. I just sleep all summer and I don't do any like the fun stuff like going kayaking or going on hikes or this or that. I'm like, I gotta get my summer body of like being able to like do these fun active things that you want to do in the summer. I want to be able to swim for more than 10 seconds without drowning, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like that I feel like is like the positive version of what you're saying, where it's like being motivated by like wanting to feel good and like do activities and like have fun in life instead of like, I need to look this certain way. I can only eat one salad. I'm like, I'm not be able to swim if I only ate one salad. I gotta
you're
eat.
not. And
need
also,
fuel.
I've been thinking about this concept a lot that I've been thinking about, LOL, is the concept of not all weight loss is healthy and not all weight gain is unhealthy. In my opinion, once again, I'm not a doctor, but honestly, I don't know. Do I need to be a doctor to have this opinion? Probably not.
No.
People love to be like, oh, they're healthier because they're smaller, either than they were before or other people. But when you get to a smaller body because you're harassing yourself, targeting yourself, being horrible to yourself, not feeding yourself properly,
starving
screwing
yourself,
up your hormones, like throwing off your entire like body and homeostasis, that's not healthy. And you can be in a larger body too and be doing the same thing to yourself. Like sometimes it's healthier to like when you're treating your body in a healthy way where you're nourishing it and you're exercising it, giving it vegetables, giving it water, giving it sunlight like a plant, like it might gain a little weight or it might lose a little weight. That time is when that's like, in my opinion, healthy weight loss and weight gain. But when you're like beating yourself up and you're binging all the time because of all of the stress that you've given yourself, like that's not healthy and it's not good for you. You're not going to be happy. You're happiest when you are allowed to be as you are. And you know what? Sometimes we need to emotionally eat because we can't handle it, and that's okay.
It's okay.
Like you don't have
We're
to
not
be
machines.
this machine.
Yes.
You're not here to be a freaking machine. Your body is the least interesting and least important thing about you, TBH.
Yeah, and two, I think something I was reflecting on recently, which this is going deep into the body image stuff, but like I think it's probably good for people to hear this, is like food is not moral.
Yeah.
And that's another thing about summer. Like
that's all over TikTok and it's scaring me.
yeah, that's
Stop it.
that's an eating disorder. It's
Like,
orthorexia.
oh, these foods are good. These foods are bad. I'm
Yeah.
like, ew,
And
get
I
away
think
from
you
me.
have to ask yourself, like, when I was in like the height of orthorexia, my eating disorder, I remember baking all these things and then feeling like I wasn't allowed to eat them, but I could give them to other people.
Oh.
And it's like, I remember having this really sad moment when I was in my early 20s and I was like, is this what it is to be an adult? Like you get to make something that's really yummy and good, but you don't get to eat it. You only can let other people eat it. And I had this like sadness, and it was like, I have to choose between this body that's acceptable to other people or that I think will get me more love and like admiration or whatever, or like enjoying life, I guess. And it's interesting because food is like so many more things than just fuel. It is fuel and it's good to get nutrients, obviously.
Yeah, people are like, you can only eat these things because you're not fueling yourself right if you don't.
Yeah, but like
get away
so
from
much
me.
of food is celebration, it's culture, it's memories, it's holidays, it's experiences. Like I don't want to live my life so small by eating this really strict meal plan versus like, what about all the things that remind you of summer? Like watermelon or mac and cheese or
Ooh,
like
mac and cheese.
a barbecue, like ice cream, like
Hamburgers.
ice cream. Yeah, those foods are fun. And like in the eating disorder community, like you hear people say like some foods are more like body nourishing, but some foods are more soul nourishing. And that's not a bad thing, to enjoy both. And I don't know, there's also something I read recently that was saying like people that are trying to lose weight and like don't view their body in a good light and they're like, I need to lose weight, need to lose weight, are more likely to have more unhealthy days where they eat unhealthy, which is really weird. You think like, oh, if I'm whipping myself, then I'm going to have these like healthy days.
No, because you break when you're whipping yourself.
A lot of times it backfires.
It's a lot of stress.
Yeah. You deserve to enjoy your summer and enjoy your life.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is enjoying foods that are, it doesn't mean you're lazy or gluttonous or this out of control person just because you want to have an ice cream cone in summer. That's a big part of enjoying the summer. So giving you permission to do that.
You have permission.
So a big thing we want to say to everyone is to question the standards. I don't think we do this. Sometimes you may have not done this at all, person watching, or maybe you did it a little bit. But seriously, think about it. Do your arms need to be a certain size? Okay, then what if they're a half inch bigger? Do they need to get that half inch back down? Is that real? Like, do you really have to live like that? Does your stomach have to be a certain size? Do your legs have to be a certain size? Does every part of your body have to fit this certain mold, or else what? What is it? You're not acceptable based on what? Who's
and
standards?
also, how do you have to view yourself? Because I remember, this is really cheesy, but right after I had the twins and I was definitely like at my one of my highest weights besides when I was actually carrying them, I remember looking in the mirror and being like, oh, who is this? And I remember saying to myself, I am delightfully plump.
I love it.
I love that.
And I sometimes will still say that, where it's like, you don't have to view yourself in a bad light. You
That
can
is
just say, I'm
hilarious.
delightfully plump, okay?
Yeah.
That is MySpace used to say, more to love.
That is a really good point. With anything you're going through with your body, you could label it one way or another. Like
And
you
you
can
get to do that.
like how people say like thunder thighs, whatever.
You could say
actually that might not be negative depending on how you look at it.
Yeah. Wonderful,
Wonderfully strong.
luscious thighs.
Like you could use a different word.
yeah. Strong calves.
Yeah.
Or people will be like floppy arms, or you could
that's
just
so
be
sad.
like,
Soft and like warm, loving arms.
oh, I love
I
it.
love it.
I just
okay,
saw-
you
I
have
saw-
good words. I'm like trying to think of new words. I'm really bad
yeah,
at it.
I just saw I think it was the Bird's Papaya. She's so great. She said this thing about how like I think her like aunt or grandma, some like an older woman in her life, had like really like soft arms, and she said every time she hugged her, it was always like this really warm, like soft embrace. And I was like,
That is so true.
that is such a cool way to look at it. Whereas I feel like most women are like, I don't want to have chicken wings, or I don't want to have
Wait,
that.
that
Like
is so true.
but
I
you
can
could be
think
like,
of that,
yeah.
like of
It's really
hugging an
nice.
older woman in my life and feeling the soft arms
And it
is
feels
such
good.
a thing.
And it's such a normal thing that happens as you get older. It doesn't have to be a bone. It can be a soft arm. That's okay. Like, if it's a bone too, that's fine. Like, it's just your
What
arm.
about stomach? You give the new word. Okay. Flabby stomach.
I would just say, like, soft, gentle, just, I don't know, for me, well, for women, I guess, because one of the biggest things is your new stomach needs to be flat. It's just, like, feminine. Your stomach is feminine if it's, not that it's not if it's not, because some people have a naturally flatter stomach, but a
So
soft
that's on the
stomach.
more rare end.
Yeah, a soft stomach is actually really normal. You have, like, your ovaries are down there. There's a lot of body
Need
parts
some
down there.
protection.
Yeah, it's just a little, it's very natural. I've seen that. There's like a hormone doctor I follow, and she was saying like your stomach will have just a little lining of fat naturally because it's protecting like the womb, and that's very feminine. Nice.
So I would say question all those standards you have for yourself and think about when you first heard that you should have that for your body and if you agree with that. Because here's the thing, you get to decide if you agree or not. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can decide if the rest of your life you want to be berating yourself about the fact that your stomach is not perfectly flat.
Yeah.
Or if you want to give yourself a new
Or
standard.
if you're delightfully plump.
and you
Yeah.
can decide how you're going to label when you look yourself in the mirror. How are you going to label yourself?
Yeah.
What are you going to say? Are you going to say, I'm lazy? Or are you going to say, I've been living my life?
Yeah.
I've been doing this. I've been
I've
doing that.
been
What are you
eating
going to say?
good.
And
Yeah.
also, this is
What are you gonna
something
say?
that you can do for your future children as well. Because if you haven't decided that you're okay and that you deserve to be as you are, your children, they're going to learn that without you even saying anything. And they're going to be not okay with as they are because you're not okay. So why would they deserve to be okay?
It breaks my heart to think of my children ever, like, which I know it's going to happen. And I just wish I could erase it out of their minds of like the moment when they start to judge different body parts. Like, it's just your arm, it's just your leg, it's not good or bad, it just is. And like,
Yeah.
ugh.
And then, but then you teach them that and they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
They're strong
Just
little
a lot
men.
of societal pressure they have to
Yeah.
overcome, which is really sad.
Well,
But it's okay, guys, because you can decide for yourself.
you get to decide.
I had to think about swimsuits in here, but it's definitely going to be I'm not going to make it a long thing. So here's my quick note on swimsuits. I was thinking about this the other day. Question the swimsuit standards as well. Like, do you want, I was thinking at the pool the other day, I was like, do I need to show my butt to everyone here? I'm at the pool with all these families, these dads running around, these teens running around, these kids. I'm like, do they need to see my butt today? And I was thinking, I don't know about this.
Maybe not.
I don't know about that. And it wasn't like, it wasn't what we're talking about. It wasn't, I'm ashamed of blah, blah. It wasn't that. It was like, is this actually necessary? I don't think so. So I've been questioning that. And like, there's a lot of different swimsuit styles, I think you should just question like there's swimsuits that cover all parts of your body. I mean, they have it all. Mm-hmm. You can cover your arms with some. You can cover your butt. You can cover a lot of your legs. You can cover tons of stuff. You can go very, very high, whatever the heck. I think that's, there's a lot of pressure to be very like revealing and like that's automatically more attractive or whatever it is.
But it also is automatically more uncomfortable.
I mean, I don't know automatically, but
I mean, I guess in my view, when I'm like, ooh, there's a lot more showing, I'm like,
You feel more vulnerable.
Yeah, it's more pressure. But yeah, I just wanted to give that to you guys, like pose that question for you in your mind. Like, do I actually have to follow the standard of what people are saying is like the ideal like swimsuit and like the ideal amount of skin to be shown right now? Because I mean, yeah, things get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And like, you don't have to. You don't have to do that.
If you're really struggling with body image, but you still want to go and like enjoy the water, but you're like, I just can't bear the thought of wearing like a really small swimsuit, then just get like board shorts or get something that's more covering and just know that it's okay to kind of stand out from the crowd a little bit. If that makes you feel more comfortable for the place that you're in, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to ever be comfortable showing your butt to the pool.
You don't.
You could. Maybe you want to be comfortable with that. But maybe you're like, I actually could go my whole life and never do that and be fine. I just want you to think that that's an option, that you could go your whole life and never show them your butt and be okay.
Yeah.
Just a thought. So Kath has this thing she wanted to read to wrap this segment up, which was how to get through bad body image days. So this is a good tip, I think, for everyone as we're in summer.
Yeah, this is from an Instagram account called @thewellful. WELLFUL. It's a virtual non-diet dietitian. So they said how to get through, or she, I guess it's Brianna, how to get through bad body image days. Number 1, label it. Oof, today is a tough body image day. Number 2, ask yourself, what would help me to feel more comfortable right now? Number 3, change into comfortable clothes. Today is not the day to try that outfit that is never quite right. Number 4, check in. Is there anything else going on right now that I may be blaming on my body?
Ooh.
Number 5, refer to your list. Make a list of things you notice influence how you feel in your body, positively, negatively, and neutrally. Keep this around for hard body image days. That's a really good point because certain things we do and wear and like expose ourselves to, like maybe going on Instagram, doesn't make you feel great about your body. Like just avoid it that day.
That's really smart.
Yeah. And then number 6, this is the last one. Be gentle with yourself. Know these feelings will ebb, flow, pass, and try to be compassionate in the meantime. I thought that was a really, really good post.
Great advice for everyone. All right. We went pretty long with that. So let's get into our 5 perspectives. So that was that on the summer body. Hopefully that was really helpful to you guys.
I'm ready to go to the pool now after we're talking about it.
I've been at the pool.
Let's get some water
in my mind.
We're going to go into our 5 perspectives. Well, I didn't even say anything about Lisa in the beginning. 5 perspectives because Lisa is a part of the band, but she's not here right now because Lisa is supporting her husband through his cancer treatments, which I should have said in the beginning of the video of why she's not here. I keep forgetting to say that in the podcast episodes. I also forgot to say that the full episodes are all on Patreon. You have to join our Patreon. It's $5 a month and you get all the full episodes and all the past full episodes and all the like throwback. Guys, the Throwback Thursday content that's on our Patreon, like Wacky Wednesdays with Lisa. We're posting a bunch of those recently. They're so good. Just saying. So join our Patreon for that. So our 5 perspectives is where we each give our perspective on a topic. And the question today is, what was one of your best and one of your worst summers of your life? Kind of a speed round. Ready? Okay, I can automatically say... When I can't remember if I was 16 or 15. I don't actually know which year it was. That was one of the worst summers of my life. It was one of the worst times of depression in my life. And I was very I was very depressed, and I was inside like the whole summer. And I was like, I've barely gone to the pool this summer. I hardly went outside. It was very boring and depressing. Spent so much time in my room in the dark. Boring. So then what was my best summer? It's a great question. You know, when we were in Malibu, I had some really fun summers on the beach. That was really fun.
Yeah.
I also had some amazing, I mean, one of my best ones, though, it's got to be like, as like an 18-year-old in our hometown, El Dorado Hills. I had such good summers there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The summers there were so
The
fun.
sprinklers in these huge sprinklers in the golf course in our neighborhood, going on walks around
Concerts
everywhere.
in the park, random
Oh my gosh,
stuff.
the town center that was like newer in our town. Oh my
that
gosh,
was so fun.
Yeah, probably that. That was so good.
That was really fun.
Oh, but yeah, I have some new, different kind of summers coming up now with kids, and like this summer is really fun. So I'm gonna have like different kind of fun summers with the kids. I'm really looking forward to. So you people, best and worst.
Okay. I don't really remember that much, so I'm just gonna go with recent. Worst summer recently was summer 2021. It's the same thing that you're saying. I was just like mentally ill. I'm just like, I'm just gonna lay in bed, tired, can't do anything.
Trying to remember those
Trash. And I think this summer is actually shaping up to probably be my best summer of the last, I don't know, 5 years. Just because I feel like I actually have energy.
Ooh.
And I just
Me
really like
too.
saying yes to life and saying yes to summer fun. So
Love
Saying yes to life.
yeah.
This is gonna sound so annoying, but I genuinely don't think I've ever had a horrible summer.
Good.
not bad.
Because I've
annoying.
always been a summer
Girl.
gal. I'm literally like the girl in what is it called?
Just a summer girl.
Not To All the Boys I Loved Before. The Summer I Turned Pretty, where she's like, I
Oh,
live
yeah.
the whole year for these 2 months. Everything wonderful, magical happens. That's me. So every summer, I always have a great time, at least for a lot of it. Now, there have been times in the summer where I've been so disturbingly sad for a day or two or so, but never the whole time. So honestly, last summer was an amazing summer. So that was one of my best, my personal bests. And then I just generally have good summers. Winter, different story. They're all terrible for me. But other than that, yeah.
I think it's hard to say because I had two really bad summers, which is 20 and 21. Because 20, I was diagnosed with mono, and then literally at the beginning of summer and didn't get better until Labor Day weekend.
Ooh.
And then 21, I was pregnant with my twins, like about to give birth, and it was horrifying. I don't know which one was worse. They were both really bad. I don't know. A lot of sickness was had, like just illness generally. But I think, again, kind of what Lauren said, I think this summer is like shaping up to be my best. We already went on a beach trip with my twins. My twins are like almost 2, so they're at this age where we can actually like go out and like go to the splash pad, go to the pool. Like we have a lot of fun things we're gonna do this summer, and we already have fun plans for the weekend. So I think it's gonna be a really good summer, and it already has been so far. So
I love it.
Wow. So let's get into Sister Spotlight. Now, it's our last segment where one sister gets a spotlight on her each week. This week, which sister it is?
Which
Is
one could it be?
Which sister it is?
Could it
Okay,
be?
whatever. I'm around Barrett too much. We keep saying, well, too much. Yeah, I live with him. We keep saying, Mom, what calls it for what's it called? Mom, what calls it? What calls it? You ask me what everything is called. It's so funny.
cute.
Mom, what calls that? Anyway, so the options are get with Christina, Sapper Your Sassy, that's with Kath, Lisa's current, no,
We already
Lisa's
know.
corner,
Yeah, we do already know.
Amy's current crisis, and
And
Lauren's
Lauren's
take. And the sister is
You guessed it.
Hey, I didn't even know. So I'm going to tell a story that
Perfect.
I was reminded of by my love. So today, I'm sitting in the kitchen and my roommate walks in and says, are you missing your license, basically? And I was like, what? My license fell out on her cousin's lawn. I would never have known that my license was gone if his roommate didn't find it and text her. So basically, I texted him and said, wow, you saved my life. You have a fabulous day. I hope you just deserve the world. Thank you. And it was very strange. But anyway, Never, ever, 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 ever underestimate my capacity to lose something that is in my pocket. Never.
What?
If you could bet on that happening,
I don't understand.
you would make a
this.
fortune.
It's
I think
not
that's
like
never
you're, like,
happened to me.
I
doing
don't know.
cartwheels,
I'm not. Literally,
Yeah,
guys.
what?
I
What
have
is
lost so many things. You know the amount of times I've flung my credit card onto the floor and people just
But
give it back to me.
How do you fling it?
I
I'm
don't
curious.
have
She got loose
any
pockets.
clue because I never know that I flung it.
But how is it in your pocket or you fling it before it gets to your
It's
pocket?
in my pocket and then it gets flung somehow.
Okay, that's where I'm lost. Have you
I'm
guys
not-
ever lost something from your pocket?
No, but
I
I
don't
don't
know.
use my
Well,
pockets.
what about putting it through the washer?
like no.
Well,
Okay,
it's
because
like
I've
I'll
done
put
that.
it in
How?
a back pocket. How's it
Yeah,
gonna
in the
fling
back
out?
pocket
Everything-
and it flings out of there. My
Amy's a lot of
ID was in the
handstands.
back pocket of my overalls last night and it was gone. Literally, I don't know how. And this happened to me so many times. Like, my neighbors have given me back my credit card multiple times. Like, I've lost
Wait,
it in the
what?
snow. I've lost it.
Why do you always put them in your pocket?
Or, like, I'll be out. I don't know.
you need to
I'll be
outlaw.
out, like,
your
on the
pockets.
town. And then my credit card will fling onto the floor of some random bar. And then I'll be like, sorry.
Okay, here's the
That's
solution.
my credit card. Oops.
We're gonna get Amy a wallet that maybe I will custom make that has like a dog leash. Like you literally
Why don't you
tape
just clip
your
onto
card
myself?
to it. No. You clip your card to your wallet so it stays
Yeah.
in your wallet, and then
Or
you can
I
put
need
it.
to get like one of these things maybe, but like
Oh yeah.
I
I feel
don't know
like-
how it's possible.
I feel like you're gonna miss that. You're gonna try to put in and miss
I feel
it
like if
every
you do that,
time.
you're gonna lose it even more.
No.
I don't know about that.
I would know if I missed it though, because I would
Yeah.
see it fall.
Yeah.
But like I don't know how this is possible. Literally,
How is this
don't
possible?
underestimate, as I've said before, my ability to lose cards, just lost. And then find them in my purse weeks later. I don't know. Or someone finds them on their lawn. That just, the number of times people are like, excuse me, is this yours? And I'm like, yeah, that's my credit card. Sorry. So many times.
Wow.
That's wild.
That has
I don't
never
mystery.
happened
The
to
curse
me.
of the
Doesn't
credit
matter
card.
where, doesn't matter when.
Whenever, wherever.
Me and my credit cards and my
Whenever.
IDs, not meant to be together. We're not meant to
Wow.
be.
That
so
is a
yeah, that
crisis.
is my story.
That's
and I
like
don't know.
disturbing.
No, I know. I don't know
how
how
do
it's
you-
possible.
Buy anything.
I don't know.
And
The
you know
other
what
day-
else she doesn't? Okay. This is the woman who uses a debit card.
For everything.
Amy.
That means she didn't get robbed. And the woman who won't get Apple Pay. So how?
The other day, I was at the Yield grocery store and I rang
Where you
all
can use
my
Apple Pay.
stuff up. Lord, you think I have that? No. So you can ring up all your stuff. I rang up all my stuff. I was like, I had a glimmering earlier in the day of why does my purse feel a little lighter than normal? I wonder what's going on.
Oh no, this is my nightmare.
There was no wallet. No
Oh.
wallet.
Oh,
I
no.
had nothing. I looked in my
Oh
car.
my
I called Alex
God.
and I said, I called Lauren. I said, can you look at my room? Maybe it's like right there on the floor.
It
And
wasn't.
she didn't see it. And then I called Alex. I was like, Alex. Well, I called my mom. She's like, I'm in Florida. I was like, thanks. And then I called Alex. I was like, Alex, please help me. Can you come pay for my groceries? And I will pay you back. And I gave him a $10 tip because he literally
Wow.
came to the grocery store and paid for my groceries with his own personal credit card.
Aw.
And then I just sent him money for it. But I
Aw.
was in shock. Also, one time my whole wallet fell out on the streets of the downtown and I lost it for a whole day. Then one of my brother's friends called him and said, "Hey, I think I found your sister's wallet.
Oh
because
my
her
God.
ID is in
Crazy.
there."
That's wild.
So never understand my
okay,
ability
my
to lose
wallet
wallets
idea
as well.
not relevant.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe I have to
It's a
clip it
curse of
to
a
my
wallet,
purse.
too.
I don't know. I have no clue. We'll
You
never
need
know.
digital.
She just needs
only.
Apple Pay. That sounds like a great
I was gonna
solution.
say-
I'm scared
Yeah.
of Apple Pay. I don't want someone to like rob me somehow.
No one's robbing you from Apple Pay. They're gonna rob you from your debit card that you left on the street. That's who's robbing you.
Well, they'd have to guess their pin. But anyway.
I was gonna say a pocket with a zipper, but I realized Amy does not use zippers.
I don't zipper. That might be why everything.
Every time I see her with her purse, which is normally like, is it a backpack right now?
Yeah.
It's always completely unzipped.
Completely wide open.
Always. She doesn't use zippers. You need the magnetic.
Yeah.
Maybe?
To quote Julia Michaels,
You need a magnetic
I
thing that
got
pulls itself.
issues.
Well, if anyone watching is a robber, she's your
Follow
next
me
victim.
around.
She wants to be robbed.
Good luck to all. To all, good
Praise
luck.
the Lord for the pin. Praise the Lord for the pin.
Well, that was Amy's current crisis.
That was a lot, guys. But my license will be restored to me today.
Love it.
Oh my gosh. Well, guys, that's all we got today. Thank you for joining us. And oh yeah, this is on YouTube, so we're saying bye to everyone. Join us on Patreon if you want to see the full episode of the next one coming out and the one that just came out. Every other episode is only fully available on Patreon. So you got to join if you want to watch it. Well, guys, we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
You've been listening to the Cimorelli podcast. Follow Cimorelli on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube. You can also find Cimorelli on Facebook and Instagram.